Hey everyone, welcome back to the first official video in the series of making a stream or video overlay with Krita and Affinity Publisher. So today we're going to be starting in Krita. If you don't have Krita, it is free. You can go download it at krita.org. The download link will be in the description below. And if you don't want to use Krita, you can use GIMP, Photoshop, whatever sketch program you want to use. Really, this is just to make the assets and the graphics and do some layout ideas for it. So to get started, I'm just gonna kind of make some boxes here. Alright, so we're gonna make some layouts, some thumbnails of what we want our stream overlay to look like, or video. Now when we're doing this, I'm just gonna make that a little smaller, make a few of these, duplicate, there we go. I'm just gonna crop this down because I don't really need it this big. Alright, so we're going to make some thumbnails of what we want, and when we're doing this, we want to kind of keep in mind what we're using the stream overlay for. For example, I do a lot of art and all that stuff, so I don't want my stream overlay to take up too much space. If you're a gamer, you may actually want to have, say, layout could be like this is your capture, where you play your game. If you do, what do you call it, the face cam stuff, your camera can be here, and you can have like all of your other stuff down here, right? And then I'll actually just label that as game example, and then we'll do art example. Now you could do this for the art example as well. However, if you want the primary focus to be on the art, you kind of want that to be as big as possible because that's going to be your primary focus, right? So you could do something like this, which is really what I'm going to do, where this is going to be your capture or video or whatever, and then contents in the bottom. So you could have a graphic here. We're going to put one of my little spider peeper guys here just as a example. Looks like a little Hershey kiss kind of. Alright, so there he is, right? And then I can have another graphic here with content here, right? So that's just some ideas. So I'll be going over more of this in the video, but for now I'd definitely recommend pausing the video, or at least taking the time to sketch out some ideas of what you want to be in your stream overlay. And also keep in mind that you want these assets to be removable, so you don't want them to be all one flat image. So have fun with it. Make it something like, maybe when you do do a be right back screen, you want this maybe bigger, you want to do something different. Have fun with it. You know, don't worry too much if it's overloaded with graphics or ideas. You can always change it later. It's better to get those ideas out now than to wait till you're done with it and realize none of it's gonna work, right? So I will be right back and show you what I come up with. Okay, so now that I've got my thumbnail sketches, I am gonna be able to make the assets. Now, obviously, when making the assets for this, I'm not going to be too worried about what the layout actually looks like, but it does help me get an idea of what I'm going to be needing, what I want to be creating for final assets, and not really going into this blind, right? So for example, this one here, right here, I do like that I have everything on the bottom for my information. I can do a solid color border or texture or whatever it is. I have my persona here, and I have my peeper mail here, which allows people to say, oh, what is this? And you can set up for my peeper mail, which is kind of like a newsletter that I send out once a month, with just like updates of what I've been doing that month. You know, it's not anything huge, just once a month updates if you aren't really into social media, which I'm totally understanding about. And this one, maybe I make it less graphic-y so the focus is on the content here, and I only have the paper mail with all the other info here, like my website, my Etsy store, all that fun stuff, right? And that could actually leave a little bit of room for me to put a link down here, might be just my main website, and then a subscribe reminder, something like that, right? And either one really works, but the fact that I know that I want this peeper, that's what they're called peepers. The fact that I want this little guy definitely in my final layout or overlay means I definitely needed to create that final asset. And the easiest way to go about that after you've made your sketches, and if you want to do it on paper and scan it in, that's fine too. I'm going to copy that, hide that, paste it. I'm just going to merge it with the other layer. I'm going to blow this guy up here, or make him bigger. And this means that I can now actually make this opacity lower, and I can just go in and start finalizing how I want him to look. Now, I will say that you should make these assets as big as you can. I cropped this down to 2805 by 1924. Obviously, your final asset doesn't have to be that big, but you want it at a high enough resolution and a high enough size. So when you scale this down, all that detail remains. And you don't want to put too much detail in this either, because when you're viewing this on a screen, it might not translate. So if you're putting in like a lot of shadow, a lot of shading, it may not translate right the way you're going to be using it if it's going to be much smaller. Now, in the event of something like this, where the video capture is much smaller and you have more data here, you can make that image much bigger. So like if your camera's here, you can actually make that camera bigger. Oops. So you could even have it kind of overlap if you wanted it to. Make it a little dynamic there. And then you can have your content, and then you can maybe even have something down here. Right? Undo that. But, you know, whatever you want to do. But yeah, just keep in mind that your asset, if it's too detailed and you shrink it down really small, like, this is probably not going to be very big. This isn't going to have a lot of room for me to actually put these assets, because my screen's only 1920 by 1080, I think it is. And most people aren't going to be watching it full screen anyway. So there's really no reason to put like all this intricate detail if no one's ever going to see it. Now your border, you can actually go into and make that intricate detail, because it's going to be big enough for you to see it. So if you wanted to do like a spider web, which I could probably do, you know, make that here, do like that. That would be fine. You know, it's detailed, but it's not overdoing it, you know. Alright, so once you have your layout done and you know what kind of assets you want, all you need to do is go and create them. So next week we're going to be going over how to bring those final assets, how to save them from Krita, and start bringing them into Affinity Publisher to make our layout on it. So next video we're going to be taking these assets and saving them out of Krita and putting them into Affinity Publisher so we can start laying out the overlay and making sure it's working to the way we envisioned it, or if we need to make some minor adjustments. So I'm not going to show you how to draw stuff in Krita. I have other videos for that, so if you're not sure where to begin from your sketch, if you've scanned it in or anything like that, I do have other videos for that. If you're not sure where they are, just comment down below and I'll link it to you. So yeah, that's basically the first video and starting our stream overlay or video overlay. And next video, like I said, we'll be going over exporting them, saving them out for utilizing in Affinity Publisher and in OBS. Hope this was kind of informative. It helped spark some ideas. And if you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video in the series. And I will see you guys in the next one.